Live and local. Syracuse's classic rock. TK99 and TK105.
8:18 as we welcome in the official financial advisor here on the show. It's Leigh Baldwin from dollarinvestmentclub.com. Morning, Leigh. How are you?
Good morning, guys.
You know, an interesting note, too, on your way in this morning. Did you have any flooding or a lot of rain out in your neck of the woods?
We had a lot of rain, but nothing that I noticed coming in. So.
Okay, that's good. But also, because it's spring break week, Easter week for kids, no school buses or traffic. So
Clear shot.
You got here in like record time.
Record time.
Love it. So what's going on in your world here?
You know, today's the day that represents the other 364 for us.
Yeah.
That's a pretty deep. Is that a Mark Twain?
That's a Mark Twain.
I love that.
That's April Fool's Day, right? So there you go.
You.
Yeah, there
I've
you
got
go.
my eye on you. Well, I mean, no fooling from yesterday. A big rally on the markets.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean, it is volatile times. Obviously,
they're calling that the Hormuz Hope trade.
Really?
Yeah, that's it. They identify things, Mag 7, and that's a Wall Street thing. So we'd rallied over 3%. The Nasdaq 1,300 on the Dow. So and we look pretty good to start today. So there is some hope out there, everyone, that maybe
things
could
are
be a
kind
resolution.
of winding up there, however you want to put it, within a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
No, because a year ago we talked about this before. It was April last year when things tanked, and for a few weeks there looked pretty grim, and then as it always
it almost feels a little bit like what we went through last year. And then you did have a pretty good rally from the market was down quite a bit more last year during the tariff tantrum.
Is that what that one was called?
Yeah, that was called Hormuz Hope. Tariff tantrum.
Okay.
I hope we just have a big Easter rally. I like to call that one. But the gasoline did get to $4 a gallon. We've talked about that, so it hasn't been there.
Like the Mendoza line of, and then the diesel has been over $5.
Right.
Which, if that's prolonged, will have impact on other prices because that's how stuff's delivered.
Yeah, I mean, what's the stat? Every 10% increase in transportation energy costs is like a 2 to 3% increase in food costs. So keep that in mind.
Okay, but where's the light at the end of the tunnel there, though? I mean, things bounce back; they just do.
Right.
And
we got through it. I mean, last time we were $4 a gallon of gas was in August of 2022, so 3.5 years ago. So we'll see where we go. So, and I think the president does have a national televised speech tonight. So we will,
maybe get a glimpse as
some positive news. So,
and then how about some of the other, just aside from that, just the regular, inflation rates, CPI, job reports, any of that kind of stuff.
So we are closed on Good Friday. On Friday, the markets are all closed.
Okay.
So, but the government will be releasing jobs numbers on Friday. So we will see if unemployment stays at 4.3%. They're expecting about 50 to 60,000 new jobs. So it's very tepid in the job growth right now.
Like last month, they were expecting the complete opposite happened.
Right.
So you don't really know.
Right. So they will release that number on Friday. That'll be something that we're looking at for sure. And then, we'll be into that earnings season again because we are beginning today into quarter number 2, Gomez. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Man,
yeah.
it is just fast.
Fast, yeah. So
this I saw along from your world, and I don't know the percentage. Oh, is it almost 41% of Americans, it says, are just 3 months away from financial bad problems happening.
41%.
41%.
Yeah.
Like if something were to happen, they only have that much
living on margin, right?
Yes. Before all of a sudden they're going to start losing stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but that's where the planning part comes in from what you do.
Exactly, and try to save and put away money for that. In the event that something bad happens, try to have that safety. Like that's something we preach about, having some money set aside for what life brings you, and just keep. I don't know if that stat has probably changed much in the last 5 or 10 years or 20 years, right? So it's unfortunately, but it's but we're still at unemployment at 4.3%. So you could argue we're at full employment. So so you can still get out there and go for it. So, so we just recently had a new grandbaby. So.
Oh, congratulations, Leigh.
So my fifth granddaughter. So there's a hoop travel team right there. So
now is that?
But she can do the Trump account, so that's a
that's right, because you can start putting money away for that, right? And then
and it kind of falls into what we preach all the time: is you want to get into the game, you want to let the compounding do what it can for you. The sooner you start, the better. I think the concept of the the government starting an account for people at birth, I think it's great. The mechanisms of it, I think. That we could talk about how it all works, right? But, it's an idea that we talk about all the time on this show, right? Get into the game, fund it, and when you're, 18 years later, let's see what it looks like. Let's see what it looks like when you're, our age,
well,
right? So,
even in the Dollar Investment Club, and again, just the concept of it, taking $100 a month or whatever, and again, that's like one trip to get a fancy cup of coffee.
Right, exactly.
Putting that away so you don't even miss it, but again, starting at after how many years? Like you gave the stat before, but I forgot what it was.
Yeah, well, 8%. So we're assuming an 8% return over 20 years. $100 a month is like $58,000. So
that's
which
real
makes
money.
that cup of Starbucks that much more expensive.
Yes.
And so, so if and all the politics aside, but if we can be, and Michael Dell, by the way, gave billions to the same program. If we get people thinking that way, that's like a really positive thing, no matter whatever else is going on, right? Just
get the mindset
and the mindset to
making
save,
it a habit,
right? To invest in, in those accounts, you have to invest in U.S. companies at a very low expense ratio, and so invest in America, so good things. So
good stuff. Lisa, questions from the loft at the home office.
Oh, I was just checking the prices, the stock prices, and Bitcoin is way, way down. It peaked at 90,000. Now it's down to 68. Is this a buy Bitcoin?
I don't know if I'll go on the air and say buy or sell on that, but it's it does point to you have to be disciplined and manage your risk and when you get into things and just understand what you have. So.
I just heard that this morning, speaking of crypto, that and I don't know what the ruling is or the law or whatever, but to allow crypto and real estate and other things to be counted into your IRA for your retirement.
Right.
So, but that's kind of, I wouldn't put a lot of your retirement.
Well, they're trying to approve now private credit, private equity into 401ks. It's a riskier, more expensive asset. There's some debate about that because that is, it's just... it's a much more complicated, I think, than trying to go out and buy John Deere, maybe, because you can kind of visualize and see what that is. But so I guess, Lisa, getting back to you just have to really know what you own and be comfortable to whether you add and Wall Street adages. You don't try to grab a falling knife, right? But but it fell last year. It's kind of been hanging around here, so maybe there's some value there. I read today Allbirds was a very popular shoe. You remember the Allbirds, Lisa?
Do you remember those, Lisa? I'm not a shoe guy. I have like 4 pair of shoes.
They were like a very trendy shoe. They were very environmentally positive, and it came out and went public at $1 billion. So but once it went public, it never made money from that point on, and just I think sold this week for $38 or $39 million from $1 billion, right? So very trendy.
I'm not a business guy, but that's not good.
So it's again, manage your risk.
Wow.
And so
whenever they didn't work, I just saw Velcro found a picture of them. They look like
they're comfortable. I had a pair of.
But I mean, $1 billion to start at $1 billion.
Right. Sometimes you get carried away with it, and it was very popular in Silicon Valley, and it was all like on Wall Street, and so everybody got all hepped up. But a trendy thing, like try to maybe stick to the basics. And my last thing is with the Final Four coming up, the Arizona shoots like the third lowest number of 3-point shots in. Is that right, Paul? Something like that. And the coach made a decision when you're trying to win a tournament where you have to win 6 games in a row. being consistent, because if you're a great 3-point shooting team, you can have that off night.
Yes.
And in a one and done situation,
You can't
you're done,
risk
right?
that.
So I want to see how they do in this Final Four, because it kind of talks to what we talk about, trying to have consistent portfolios, maybe not shooting for the 3 every time. But Michigan and UConn shoot over 40%, and here's one team that shoots at like 26% of the time, very low. And we'll see who wins.
Wow.
The tortoise or the hare in this Final Four.
It's like you went deep today, honestly. I mean, you went deep.
Starting with Mark Twain, right?
Mark Twain and Tortoise and the Hare.
And
kinds of
Colgate
stuff.
grad.
Yeah.
Colgate grad.
Well, I've got to be honest. I heard the Mark Twain thing driving in on CNBC. That was
That's a good one.
Yeah, but I thought
That's
that was
a good
great.
one.
Yeah. So
It's Leigh Baldwin from dollarinvestmentclub.com. You can log in today and get some answers to your questions and get in. And again, things always turn around. And if you got in a couple of days ago, I know, and it's hard because you see
it's
these
hard.
things.
But
Yeah.
if we point back to April of last year, just you can't get out everything. You've got to just manage your risk and be to the level where you're comfortable with your positions, with your investment, and most importantly, with your plan. Is everything still going the way you want it to be for the goals you have down the road? So
There you go. Leigh, thanks. We'll see you next week.
all right, thanks, guys.